make sure you're networking. Make sure you're doing things that make you feel uncomfortable when you're an actor. Now, when I say meaning uncomfortable, meaning when it comes to challenges, something that you think you couldn't do, like a big, huge monologue or something in a scene or whatever, attack it. Get out of your comfort zone. Always get out your comfort zone. Um, and make sure that you're having fun through the process. I don't care how grueling and how hard it is, how, it's a repeated thing over and over. Find a way to have fun with it because it's going to pay off.
Welcome to the Black Script Storytellers. I'm Kevin Marable, and today we have with us Michael J. Patterson. He is an actor. He is in a myriad of projects, from Million to One to Iceman, Book One, The Forge, and many others. But we're going to go ahead and get into it. Michael J. Patterson, how's it going, man? How you doing
Hey,
today?
thanks for having me, man. How you doing, bro?
I'm good,
Doing
man.
good,
Can't
man.
complain. What's that?
I said I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Blessed.
Good, good. Um, there's a question that I ask everybody when we first start the interview. It's a very simple question,
Okay.
but in some cases it can be difficult to answer.
Uh-oh.
And that question is, who is Michael J. Patterson?
Okay. Michael J. Patterson is a brother from the DMV, Washington, D.C., born and raised. And I'm a man that's saved by grace through faith in Christ Jesus. I'm unashamed 116. And I'm an actor that has been doing this since I was 12 years old. And I, um, I used to be a top athlete as a track and field guy.
Hmm.
And the Lord told me, hey, go ahead and go through life for a little bit more. And then I want you to go back into acting. I said, what? So at 33 years old, and today, here I am. I'm not 33 anymore, but from 33 till today, here I am.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. What struck your interest to want to act to begin with?
Oh man, like I said, since I was 12, sixth grade, I did a play called The Wiz. I was extremely, extremely nervous, man. My sixth grade teacher told me, "Hey, I think you should try for this play." I looked at her side eye, like, "Yeah, okay, whatever."
Uh-huh.
And I went on ahead and did it somehow. Did my lines. There's a little giggles here and there. They helped me with things. And once performance came that day, everybody liked me, and I said, "Okay, this is what I want to do." And here, ever since I've been doing theater. I have a theatrical background,
Hmm.
and I have been doing that a while. I was in the Chitlin circuit for a while. I don't know if you understand what that is, but that's just basically plays
Yes.
that you really don't get paid a lot of money, or you get
Right.
some money, maybe gas money, and it's just all for the love. You still have your side job or whatever, or you're in college, high school, like I was, and
Hmm.
and just kept at it, just kept getting better, understanding, learning, growing, and lo and behold, a lot of that is paid off.
No, that is awesome. So you got your start in theater,
Yes.
and were you formally trained, or did you go to acting school, or did you have an
Oh,
acting coach?
well, okay. So I just jumped in it. And then when
Okay.
I went to high school, when I was in high school, I went to drama. I took it as a core elective,
Hmm.
and did that. Was really good. Became a thespian. Did some workshop classes and stuff like that to be a thespian. Then I went to college, did a lot of plays that were in school and out of school, churches here and there. Um, that happened, and then I did some short films, some very very low budget stuff, and then it just progressively got better for me, and I started auditioning for bigger things, bigger short films, then feature films,
Hmm.
then major feature films, and still continuing, which is I'm really thankful.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's can you name some of the major feature films that you've been in?
Okay. Well, like you said, they're well. Let me start with this one that's not out yet until 2024, which is really really big. It's
Okay.
called The Forge,
Uh-huh.
and this is with Karen Abercrombie, Cameron Arnett, Priscilla Shire,
Wow.
newcomer Aspen Kennedy, who is going to knock your socks off on his skills in acting. He's amazing. I can't talk about my character. I can't say anything about it at all except what you see in the trailer.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
because I don't want to give anything away.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's one of them type of joints. But that's a major by Kendrick Brothers. Everyone knows them from War Room, Facing the
Right.
Giants, etc. Courageous. Um, but it's a Sony picture slash Kendrick Brothers. Let me say Kendrick Brothers slash Sony. And it's going to be huge. It's part of the War Room universe, basically, like Marvel Comics.
Oh wow.
So you're going to see a lot of amazing things, a lot of returning characters. TC Stallings is in it. Forgive me, my brother. He's in it as well. And so that's a
Wow.
really big major. That's one of my big major ones. Now I'm not disregarding everyone else that has allowed me to be a part of their films. You know, we got Harold Jackson III, who was on here before.
Yeah. Shout out
Iceman,
Harold.
yeah, that's my boy. Iceman Book One,
Uh-huh.
Million to One. And then there's another movie that I'm in with him that we just got finished doing. I did a supporting role in it, and then I also line produced it, and it's called The Novelist,
Mm.
and that is something else. That's going to be amazing. And so we're just working. There's other folks that I did the Fabled movie actually with Glenn Wise. It's a sci-fi. That's actually my genre. I love sci-fi,
Okay.
and I did a lead role in that. And there's a host of others. I just don't want to over talk or overtake my
No,
step.
you're good, man. It's good to talk to somebody who has a plethora of work that's already established, and you have plenty of projects that are coming soon,
Yeah,
and you're also doing other things like you mentioned earlier. You're getting into line producing
yeah.
as well. So I would love to talk to you about a little bit of all of those things.
Mhm.
But before we get into anything else, let's stick with acting for just a second.
Yes, sir.
And are you able are you able to say anything as far as, are you the lead character in the Forge? Are
No,
you
I am a supporting character. I am
okay?
a supporting character now. Yeah, I'm not even going to jump on here like that. But I would love to one day soon to play as a lead in the Kendrick Brothers film. They've been somebody that I dreamed of since I was younger. It's like I want to be on their film. When Facing the Giants came out, I was like, I want to work with these guys.
Yeah,
And so far the dream has come true, and we'll just go from there and see where the Lord takes me. But it's something that I'm very excited about, as well as I'm excited for the whole world to see the movie, because if you don't mind me touching on it,
no, go ahead.
it's about generational curse breaking. It's about fatherhood.
Mhm.
It's about sons. It's about moms. It's about the struggles. It's about it can go from any class to from one range to the other when it comes to class, where people are struggling. When it comes to fathers and sons, when it comes
Mhm.
to sons finding their identity in this country that has been in turmoil. When it comes to families are breaking apart. Divorce rates
Mhm.
are over 50%. They're like 60% now. Like, there's a lot of things that are entied in this film that they touch on. Also, they touch on honor for men. Men, we need to get back to where the masculinity is good. It's good to be masculine. It's
Right.
good to be the head of the household. It's good to be loving and protective over our women and our children, and it's
Mhm.
also good to be a leader in our society. We just ain't going to sit back and say we already been there, done that. No, we need to step up. Because if we don't step up in our country, we ain't going to be protected for long. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Somebody's got
Yeah,
to learn how to push those buttons and know how to shoot a gun and all that stuff like that,
for
right? So
sure. For
so
sure.
that's
We
it's
definitely need that strength.
yeah, strength, man. So and I'm not saying I got false bravado or hyper
Mhm.
masculine or anything like that. It's just that it's good you know to make sure that that's in our society, that it's good. It's
Right.
good. It's good to be masculine. So yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. And then as far as Iceman Book One, I have not watched it yet, but I'm
Oh,
excited to watch it.
okay.
Um, tell us a little bit about your character in that film.
Okay, so that brother, man, his name is Mikey. I play one of the leads in it, opposite of Sean Woodland and Gwendolyn. I don't want to say his last name's not Smith anymore. It's Osborne, Gwendolyn
Okay.
Osborne. Yes.
Uh-huh.
And you got Rosalind Ross, you got Danny Gavigan, you got just a whole plethora of individuals that are extremely talented. And
Right.
so Mikey, they brought it out of me. working with him as well. That Mikey, he was a guy, a stand up guy. When I say stand up, meaning they did some things back in the past that were terrible doing stand ups.
Mhm.
Hold ups or stuff like that, and he
Right.
got caught on drugs. And he was a very strong guy that taught Iceman everything he knew when it came to the bad side of things. But Iceman, decided to, do things his other way. I'm trying to make sure I don't say anything about
Right.
the movie, but he
Uh-huh.
became something different. Okay. He became the Iceman. And so, Mikey, he's a guy that, whenever there's an opportunity to get some money to feed his addiction, he's going to take care of it. And he knows a lot of top people to be able to, manipulate others and get what he needs so that he's able to get his fix.
Uh-huh.
The guy messes with the wrong folks that are dealing with basically folks in the government as well as the mafia and
Mm.
so forth. And so he messes with the wrong folks, sells the items, and now he's in trouble. He runs to Iceman, and Iceman being his best buddy, he has to go ahead and help out Mikey. But Iceman, lo and behold, Iceman doesn't know that there's a whole lot more. That Pandora's box is open, and so
Right.
he's got to fight for his life as well as Mikey. So Mikey's basically the troublemaker, man, the catalyst of the film. And
Yeah.
you're gonna see. I brought some flavor from the DC area. He's a guy. Me growing up in the DC area. You have folks that unfortunately, there are some family members. You got friends, and you got folks that you just know when you're walking from school, and how they have this talk, and how
Their
they think
mannerisms.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they think that they got it going on, but they really don't. They've lost their minds, and that's the way Mikey
Right.
is. He's a very complex individual who's living the past, thinks he can handle it, thinks he's stronger than he is, and he's not. He's a very vulnerable, very off the wall type guy, and you'll see him in that film. Yeah,
Yeah. And the trailer looks really strong, man. And
yeah,
the few scenes that I have seen, Harold did his thing with the
yeah,
cinematography.
yes.
Um, and he recently sent me the script, so now the script is live on the blackscript.com. So when
Oh
you guys
wow,
watch the film, you can actually download the script and read along while you're watching the movie.
yeah.
So that's pretty awesome.
I would say about 90% of it is going to go along with the movie. And then there's things, of course, as us actors do.
Of course.
We try to do things that when you're in the moment, you're in the moment, and as long as you're
Of
going along
course.
with the script. So, but yeah, I'd say 90% of it is totally there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
There's I don't think that there's one script, at least that I've come across, that is just straightforward.
yeah. I don't think I have
Always a
either.
lot of changes. Sometimes I get drafts. Sometimes I'll get a production
Mhm.
copy. It just depends.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. But yeah, Harold is he's a with the. I hope I say the word correctly. An auteur, like
Yes.
he's an artist, man. Like he's really amazing, and I'm always like thrilled to see the after effects when he's finished with it, or he'll just have you look at it before it's the finish, and then you're like, oh, that's dope, and all of a sudden you see the finish, you're like,
Even better.
yo.
Yeah. Right.
So
Because
he's man,
he hasn't put all the bells and whistles in there yet. He
nah,
hasn't added all of that. So you're just seeing the raw uncut of
yeah,
what you're filming.
yeah. I
I'm
always
sure
have
that's pretty amazing.
I have a nickname for filmmakers. Like everyone that I work with, I always have like a nickname.
Uh-huh.
And I call it, this is my nickname. It's probably this is going to be his first time finding out, but I call Harold the sniper, man. He just gets you when you don't know, and you
Right.
think you know, but you don't know, and all of a sudden, and you just, it's like he's the sniper. He just hits you with something that just explodes on you, and you're like, what just hit me? That's the way he is. He's really good, and from script, cinematography to
Hmm.
directing,
Hmm.
um, it's just he's the man. And I'm not, trying to brown nose or nothing. Like, dude is just good. He's just pretty
Right.
good. It's just a blessing to work with him.
Now, as you're doing the role, as you're playing the role, how involved is he when it comes to the directing aspect? Does he before you guys before he says action and
Yeah.
you start rolling, does he pull you to the side and give you pointers that do it this way, say it like this? This is what I was picturing for this particular scene. How does he lay it out to you?
So the brother will let you go first, ham on what you think you know.
Mhm.
Let's just say that. And it's good. Like he'll let us be actors. You know, he'll let you be an actor. He'll let you do that, and he'll go through it. He'll probably go through it a second time. He's like, okay, and he's very mellow, very calm,
Hmm.
and he's like, "All right,
Yes,
let me
he
talk to
is.
you real quick, man. So this is what I need you to do. You see how she's coming at you. So I want you to go ahead and give her like a different like approach. See what she does. See if you throw her off. If she throw you off or you throw her off, we'll go ahead and cut it and go ahead and we'll make sure everything happens. That's how he is. And then all of
Right.
a sudden you go out there and he's like, that's what I need. That's what I need. And then he'll tell you something else. He's very calm. He's
Hmm.
not like that's not what I need, man. I need you to. No, he's just
Yeah.
and we get it.
Straight, even tone.
Yeah, even tone. But the thing is, he's very descriptive of what he needs,
Right.
and it makes sense.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, I prefer to work with folks like that.
Right, because then they can explain it to you, and you're not having to use your imagination or trying to figure out exactly what it is that they mean. And that's what
Right.
makes a good director at the end of the day is somebody that can actually um, break it down to you to the point to where when he says action and you get to it, you actually perform the way you want to and need to perform. And so,
Exactly. He lets you be an actor, man.
right,
He lets you, like I said, yeah, he lets you perform because he's a guy, and he'll tell you this. He's a guy that is the casting director as well.
mhm,
It's very rare that he has auditions, so he studies you already. He already knows what he likes about you, so
right,
he's already prepared for that. So now he's like, just show me what you got, and then I'm
yeah,
just going to go and scalpel, and then the way I like it, the way he likes it. I'm sorry, and then there you go, and it's cool, that
uh-huh.
it's a different approach, and I appreciate it. Yeah.
And lastly, the last film, and it's really not the last film, but the
Mhm.
last film that I know that you've worked with Harold on is Million to One, and
Yes.
that's a completely opposite character.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit about who you play in Million to One?
Okay. So let me remember my character's name. Oh my goodness. So my character, because I don't remember my character's name. Forgive me.
It's all
Uh,
good, all good.
yeah. But so he's a guy that's he's a loving guy, country guy. I don't know if you heard my country in stuff like that. He's a country homegrown guy. He
Uh-huh.
loves the suburbs, even though his brother Rob, played by the awesome Rob Gordon, who's a comedian, fantastic actor. He's the lead in
Yeah.
the film. Um, he thinks I'm country, but I live in the suburbs. So it's like a distinction between me having this country twang, and then I have my brother who's cityfied and glorified and loves the social media, and then he's trying to do his thing.
Right.
And so I'm a guy that is not too complex. He's very calm. Obviously he attracted his fiance that he's about to marry, but there's a situation in his past that haunts him.
Mm.
And I don't want to give out too much, but it gives him the notion to think is his fiance the one for him, as well as just a lot of things that he does, his nuances and stuff throughout the film. You can show that he's got something hidden that he needs to get off his chest, or at least or show it. And
Hmm.
so he has a battle. He has an internal battle. He has an internal battle of some other things in the past that affected him and his brother. That's played by Rob. So that's the guy that I give. He knows how to show his vulnerable side.
Hmm.
He's easygoing. He loves to go fishing because you see that in the trailer. So I can say that he's a guy who loves to fish. Um, he's just a easygoing home brother. Maybe somewhere born and raised in Virginia somewhere. Probably, I don't know. He's not from the DC area, or maybe from Maryland. We got a lot of country in Maryland too. Believe it or not.
Right. Exactly.
So, he's just that guy. And I hope I explained that well. But he's just
Oh yeah.
easygoing. He
Hmm.
wants to settle down. He's got a past. He's got to get over that past, and he knows how to show his vulnerability, and at the same time be a leader for his brother and everyone that's around him. He looks like a natural born leader, kind of.
Hmm.
So, and he's a Bama. Let me take that. Let me use a DC term.
He's a
He don't know how to
bam.
dress. He don't know how to dress at all. So I can use that because the pictures and when you see the trailer, he's always wearing something off a little bit, and so
Right.
using the
Right.
DC term Bama, meaning he don't know how to dress, that type of
Yeah.
thing. So yeah, old school term basically. But
No, that's cool, man. That's cool. Between theater and acting on set, which do you prefer? And I have a feeling that you're gonna say theater.
that's hard, man.
Okay, tell me about it. Why is it
That's
hard?
really hard. It's hard because when you're when you're on stage, it's a different story. It's so much more to do.
Hmm.
It's broad. When you are theater, you're here. When you're camera, you are here, and then you are here like that. So you can't overreact. You can't overact. And then you have to learn how to project when you're coming from film back onto theater. I had to learn how to do that again all over. I kept whispering, or I would. My director like, "Hey, can you speak up, please? We need to hear you." And I'm
Right.
thinking like, we're gonna have lapels or whatever. We're gonna have mics, so I should be fine. No, we need to project.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, theater is just it's more family oriented to me. You become family with the folks. You get on the film set, you do your thing. Of sometimes you're not even on the same set. I mean, on the set at the same time. Like
Hmm.
for instance, Iceman. I've never met Gwen Osborne, the
Oh
British
wow.
star. Like I've never seen her, and I
Right.
wanted to so bad, but I couldn't because schedules and stuff like that.
Right.
So you want
Exactly.
to meet the folks that you work with because when you're on theater, you know everyone because
Mhm.
they're going to find out who you are, and you're going to find out how they are, and when you're acting around them, you'll have sometimes you'll miss a line. Sometimes even
Hmm.
when you're in theater, you have to know all your lines, but sometimes you will
Exactly.
miss that line. So the chemistry with you all is that okay? If that really hard line he drops, somebody knows how to pick it up. You can't do well, in a film you just cut, money's wasted, tape is wasted, blah blah blah. But
Right.
on in theater, it's like the show goes on,
Yeah.
And I like that pressure. I like pressure. I like big lines. I
Hmm.
like the tugging and pulling of the characters to show the emotion and the range and stuff like that. It's just more authentic, because theater was drama first before film,
Right. Does it
So
help you perform better?
it does, man. Glenn
Okay.
Close is a good example. Denzel Washington is a good example. James Earl Jones is a good example. There's so many amazing actors who came from theater,
Right.
um, and when they get on the screen, they command the screen, right?
Hmm.
And so I'm not saying that's always the case, but generally, people who have theatrical backgrounds are much better actors when it comes to film and TV, especially when it comes to improv.
Hmm.
Not having to always stick to script. You can be on the script, but put your DNA into the character by using other words that go along with the storyline, and it makes sense and it's so much more better. And directors like that at times. They don't want you to go too far from the script, but they like when you be who they hired you to be. And so
Yeah.
theatrical actors are better when it comes to improv as well. Comedians are the same way. Have you
Absolutely.
noticed? So Red
Yes.
Fox, Richard Pryor, uh, just amazing actors, man.
All
So,
the greats.
sir, yep.
So let's talk a little bit about line producing.
Oh, okay.
You and I had a conversation in person
Hmm.
a little while back, and it was about we were attending a premiere for Forgetting Christmas, Cadell Cook film,
That's my
which
boy.
you also are in. Or no, you're not in
No, I'm
Forgetting
not. That's
Christmas.
just I've worked with him on other projects, man. But that's another
Right.
really extremely talented brother that I want him to
Yes,
blow up, man. I really do. I pray for that for him.
I really do think it's in the cards for him for
Yeah,
sure, and Harold as well. Um,
absolutely. They're two
yeah,
amazing guys, man. That is, I don't want to jump off topic, but it is an absolute blessing to be able to want them to have me on their set for just one line,
yes,
if it had to be. Like
yes, to
that's a
be a part.
privilege.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, we had a discussion, and you had mentioned that you had gotten into line producing for the first time.
yeah,
Um, First, can you explain in your words what line producing is, or what your role was, and
yeah,
then can you also explain how grueling it was for you to figure out?
yeah. So okay, so line producing is basically okay, like in a factory, your assembly line. You're making
Hmm.
sure everything works from the beginning to the end. When it
Hmm.
comes to people being on time, uh, call sheets, communication with the director and everyone that's team plus the actors. When it comes to food, making sure the food's there, script, just everybody's on their A game. You
Right.
know, And that's just a little bit of what I got out of it. But it was a lot. I just felt like I was ripping and running here and there. And when I sat down to try to have a little breath or something like that, I had to pop up and do something,
Hmm.
or you are the next man in line if that person is not able to handle. Well, not say they can't handle, but they're so busy that you have to go in
Right.
there and help them. So it's
Hmm.
like that. You're just basically the glue, and the director wants to make sure that he or she feels comfortable when they say quiet on set and all right, action.
Hmm.
So there's a lot behind the scenes that the line producer, or how can you say in IT terms, program manager or something like that, they have to make
Right.
sure that their peoples are good to go. And that's what I did. And I think from my earlier career as an IT engineer or administrator is that I learned those things. So when Harold saw something in me and said, "Hey, I want you to," he called me one time. He's like, "I'm gonna need you to go ahead and do this line producing." I said, and my heart dropped to my toe. Like, I've never done this before. I don't
Right.
think I'm gonna be the right guy for this. But
Right.
something in the inside of me was like, "Say yes." I said, "Okay," because it was
Hmm.
a challenge. It was the pressure. It was something totally
Absolutely.
different from being an actor, and so it helps you become even a better act. I mean, even better actor because you understand what's going on. So there's
Right.
some things that I'm able to spin in my wheels when I'm on set filming. I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, that needs to be done, that needs to be done, this and that. And like in an instant while you're getting into character. And I've never been able to do that before. So it's like, okay, I got a new power. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's pretty cool, man. And yeah, it just I still need a lot more training, I believe. I believe that when as the bigger projects come, it's a whole lot more involved.
More intensive.
Yeah, because you can be a line producer to a producer,
Hmm.
executive producer, like where your hands are in everything. If you feel like you want to have your hands in everything, you
Wow.
can be one of those. You can be an actual producer, line producer, executive producer, all in one.
Hmm.
Or you could be a Harold Jackson and do everything that I just said, plus be a director, writer, and a
Right.
cinematographer.
Right. And so now he's trying to alleviate some of those roles and pass it along to other folks he feels
Yeah,
are capable of handling it. And
yeah,
I think with him doing that, he obviously saw the leadership qualities in you to be able to pass that along.
yeah,
And the fact that you said yes and was willing to take on something that's brand new, it also gives you another avenue and another opportunity to work within the business outside of acting, and
absolutely.
get to learn a little bit more of the behind the scenes, but also some of the other business aspects as to what pertains to making a film. So that could also give you some longevity in another career path
Yeah,
within the industry, if you happen to decide to not act anymore or not want to act anymore.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Because an actor must always know, amateur, professional.
mhm.
I don't want to say that it's the ultimate thing that's going to happen to you, but there's going to be a time where you're going to either be shelved and they're
Right,
not want to use you anymore, you know,
right.
or they're going to use you sparingly, or you're just not who they're looking for anymore. Because that's another thing that you also have to know is that as an actor, you have to make sure you show your range.
Hmm.
You can't always be an action hero. You're gonna get old one day. Okay, you can't
Hmm.
always be a comedic because the generations change and everything isn't always funny to them the way it was when we grew up or stuff like that. You can't always do drama because there's always that one guy or one girl, and there's so many of these talented actors and actresses that can take that spot. And you're not going to be that because first you're aging, two, you're you've been out there so much that they're just tired of seeing your face. I mean, there's so many like things that
Right.
come out, and so you have to get more skills when it comes to and make your own movies. If you want to continue acting, do your own movies.
Yeah.
You write, produce, direct, learn everything so that you can make your movie because there's a lot of stories that needs to be told. So,
Absolutely.
you don't want to always do the Hollywood tentpole. So, that's why indie film is doing a lot of great things now because there's so many ideas and so many scripts that need to be told in other people's lives that can be on paper that the whole world hasn't seen yet. And so
Mhm.
why not learn how to be a line producer? Why not learn how to be a writer? Why not just submit your script and see what happens? And they give you all this feedback, and you're scared as I don't know what, but yet you get that feedback and you make the script better. There's so many things you can do. And I don't know where I'm going with this because I hope I answered your question, but it's just like learn
Yeah.
your skills and
Oh
then
yeah. I was letting you continue, but in my head, as you're saying all of this, I'm thinking
yeah,
um, the power of reinvention,
yeah,
um, and that goes on to say the power of reinvention as an actor.
hmm,
All the many different roles that you take on, and how many times you have to reinvent yourself in front of the camera. And then there's the power of reinvention to keep yourself relevant within the business
yes,
and to take on new tasks and new roles, whether it being line producing, directing, writing, producing, you name it.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And the thing is that not trying to make a false humble or anything like that, man. If there's like a really, really big film and I audition for it and they're like, nah, we're not, you weren't good enough or we such and such, blah, blah, blah. But we do need a PA. I'll be like, man, I'll have that job. First, it's a job.
Right.
Two,
Right.
you're going to learn a lot. Three, you're
Yes.
going to make connections and network, network, network. That's another thing that actors must always do network. You may not get that job. You may not get that role here and there, but man, I promise you, if you take the humble stuff, it's gonna be hard, and they're gonna have how that what is that analogy where everything slides down? I don't want to say the wrong word, but it slides down on hill. If everything is bad up top, it's gonna slide down on you too. You're gonna
Right.
get a
Yeah.
lot of that if you become a
Yeah.
PA or whatever stuff like that. So, but the thing is if you have the heart and you strong and they'll be like, thank you for hanging there with me. I got something for you. Boom.
Absolutely.
And then you're in Hollywood somewhere doing big things. How did you get here? Well, I was a PA. Oh, that's it. Yeah, I was just a PA, and now I'm able to do this and that because it always takes just that one time when you network, and at the same time when you're being humble throughout the process. And that's something I learned. My mother is a writer and director, and that's something probably that I've learned from her how to be where I'm at now.
Oh
That
wow.
I've seen a lot of what goes on, and so when you learn from that, you tend to you make it better, right? So that
Hmm.
you're able to show your worth in the future. And so that's what I've seen and what I've done. And like I said, don't knock the low hanging fruit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Don't knock that. Grab that, do your 100% best on it, and see what happens.
Right.
You will get somewhere else better, and you might even get a lead role because they love the way your hard work ethic was. They'll send you to class or whatever, and you learn these things, and they're like, "Okay, Mike, you're a much better actor. I want you to do this lead role," and boom, here you are. It's like
Yeah.
it's all about opportunity and
Most
humble and
definitely.
welcome. Yeah.
And sometimes, as to your point, sometimes you have to humble yourself and accept what comes your way,
Yes.
and know that this could potentially be a foot in the door for you.
Right.
And you just, once you get that foot in the door, that's your turn to, in your time to bust your butt to get to where you want to be.
Yes. Sit in the
But
hallway, let the
yeah,
doors open,
yeah.
put your foot in there as soon as it start trying to close.
There's so many people who are currently at the top, who made it to the top,
Yeah.
who started at the lowest of the low, the ground floor, the basement, the mail
Yeah.
room, so to speak.
Secret of my
And
success. There we go.
yes, and
Yeah.
and they get to where they want to go because they were determined, they were steadfast, and they weren't afraid to take on any role to get there.
Absolutely, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
and it
sir.
shows how passionate they are, their drive and their willingness to learn, to adapt, and to make it happen for themselves.
Yep.
Hmm.
That's it right there, bro.
You said your mom, she writes and directs.
Yeah, she writes, directs, and she's an actress as well. She
Wow.
was my inspiration actually.
Okay.
Um, that was something I heard when I was in my single digits, and she said that she was in a drama club, and I was like, oh, I'm going to be an actor like you, mom.
Yeah.
And I think that really resonated before me being 12 years old and thinking, oh, I'm gonna do the whiz, and now I want to be an actor. It was really my mom that influenced me to do that. And
Right.
she's a phenomenal actress as well. She's also starring alongside with me in the new movie that I'm in now called I'm sorry, the Christmas a Christmas Bonus, and
Okay.
that's what we're filming right now. And it's myself, Shaka Balamani, who's also a Million and One. Shout out to my director; he's an amazing guy too. Watch out for him. He's also affiliated with Harold as well. We've done a
Uh-huh.
lot of films together. And
Okay.
Shaka's very talented, a very good writer. I think you should have him on the show too because he's got
Yeah,
some
I
good.
actually have plans to speak to Shaka.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's my girl.
Serenity has paired me up with a lot of people. I don't know
That's
if
that's my PR.
yeah, she has paired me up with a plethora of people. I
Yeah,
got a long list, a laundry list of folks to talk to now.
that's
So
what's up, man. She's
shout out to
amazing.
Serenity.
Shout out to Serenity. That's my girl. She's amazing, man.
Yeah,
Beautiful person, and she really wants us to win. Um,
absolutely. Yes.
she represents a lot of folks up here in the DC area. That her and I we collaborated to allow for them to expand their horizons as well. And
Hmm.
still, a PR firm is top notch. And I'm not trying to
No,
whatever
I agree. I
advertise, but
agree.
it's just
I've only known her for maybe 2 weeks now,
okay.
and
Yeah,
yeah, she's amazing.
cool.
We had several good conversations,
Yeah,
um, trying to get some things, get the ball rolling
yeah.
in other departments, other avenues, But yeah, she's
See,
awesome.
and that's the thing, like
Yeah,
networking.
exactly.
That
And just being humble enough and willing enough to talk to anyone
yes,
and
yes.
see what they're about, see what it is that they do,
Hmm.
and see how it could either help, how you can help, or how they could benefit you, or how you could benefit them,
Right.
and vice versa.
And
Hmm.
that's what it's all about, man. At the end of the day, I want everyone to eat for real. I want
Yeah,
them to be better than me. If that
right.
makes sense to you, but I want actors that are looking at me, talking to me like, okay, this big head, big ear guy, if he can do it, I can do it. But I want to say that I want you to be better than me.
Right.
I want to see like, oh man, I remember talking to him and now he's getting ready, win an Oscar. Like I want to
Yeah.
see that. I want to. I believe that even though God gave me talent to be able to do what I'm doing, He also gave me the talent and love and heart for everyone to be better than me and get out there and do things
Yeah.
that I can never imagine that I'll be able to, that I'll be that they're doing. I wish I could do. I want to see them do that, and it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
and so that's my job and my duty. Not only am I just acting and all that, but it's like a ministry. It's like I want to
Hmm.
encourage people. I'm an encourager. I want people to win. I want them to know I want them to know that God loves them so much and He gave you
Right.
that talent. And even though you're out there working a 9 to 5 and you're older, you may be 60 years old and thinking, I can't do it. That's a lie. You can
Yeah.
do
It's
it.
not
It's
over.
never
It's
too late.
Yeah. It's not over until the good Lord says it's over. When
Absolutely,
He
man.
deems it's over, that's when it's over.
That's
So
when it's
until
over,
then,
dog. Yeah.
yeah. Until then, you have all the time and opportunity in the world to make something happen.
Yep. 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 So yeah, man. So um, that's about what I said about my mom. Yeah, she's an actress. So like, be prepared for 2024 when y'all see a Christmas bonus, man. It's a
Okay.
beautiful film, man. It's a comedy as well as a rom com, and Shaka did one for that. I can't wait. I'm not even gonna say anymore because I want Shaka to take care of that. But I'm just thankful that he allowed me to be the character I am.
Be a part.
So
Yeah,
thankful.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Another thing that we talked about when we were together in person
Mhm.
is you are all in acting. This is your full time gig.
Yeah. It's hard. And the way you're laughing, you're like, yeah, okay.
I know it's hard. Trust me, I know it's hard, but that speaks the fact that you are full time at it
Yeah.
speaks to how hard working you are and how consistent you are in order to maintain that. Um, Being that you're not in the so to speak Hollywood model,
Right.
but you're still making it happen on the independent side and for yourself. Um,
I, I could
can
say
you
that
speak to that? Yeah.
I could say that, I am doing that.
Hmm.
It's not just me that's allowing myself to be a full time actor. I have support. That's another thing I wanted to add an added must. You have to have support
Right.
when you're doing this business. And the guys and the girls that did not have the support, some way, somehow, God gave them the strength to be able to be where they're at and all of that. But then at the same time, when they're up there, you need the support to help you when you're up there too, because a lot of people fall when you get up there,
Right.
because they don't have the support. And so it's amazing to have the support that I have to get to where I am. You know, people to believe in me, like, you did what? You dropped a six-figure salary in
Yeah.
IT to what? And you're making what? And it's like, yeah, because it's in me. It's like a part of you dying if you're not doing it. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? I was in the IT field for many years because I had kids and mouths to feed, and I
Hmm.
wanted to see them be better than me. And so I put that in there, and I was willing to say, okay, well, I gave it my all, and I guess the acting thing is over. And God was like, no, you
Yeah.
can make a change so quickly. And it's still like a miracle for me to be able to be where I'm at now. Trust me, I don't want to keep you long, but I had a lot of
No.
stuff in life, man,
Hmm.
big time stuff. And God, He took me out of that, and I'm here as a testimony, bro. And I'm doing this for my kids and my
Absolutely.
grandkids and
Right.
future generations. So support is amazing, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful. I'm I don't even say that just to say that. I'm like really grateful and thankful, man. Meeting people, big movie stars or big, and when you find out these big movie stars are just human beings like us, man, and they tell you their life story, and you're just like,
Right. It's like, oh,
wow,
I'm on a similar path as you. It's just that you might be a little further ahead, but I
uh,
can get there just as much because now
yeah,
that I know your life story,
yeah,
I see that it's obtainable, you know?
yeah, and it's
Mhm.
motivating.
Yes.
And at the same time, it's just that we all at one point of time need one another, and they are those guys that are the Hollywood big time folks need people like me, the low end fruit folks, to
Hmm.
just get a sense of normalcy, to get a sense of faith, and the motivation of what made me be where I'm at. And I can't even begin to tell you how many people I've talked to that are up in their high stature that they're just like, wow, that's keep going, Michael. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, bro, you talking to me, telling me to keep going. Okay. And it's
Right.
awesome.
I'll
No,
receive that. I'll receive
yeah.
that.
So I'm just thankful, bro. I hope I answered that question.
Yes, you
Yeah,
did. Yes.
yeah,
And I just wanted to point that out because, and for the audience to hear and to see that that is something that's possible. It's viable.
yeah.
It's not going to be easy, as you said,
No, it's not.
um, and everybody's situation is completely different.
Yeah,
However, it's not out of reach, and it's something that can be done.
absolutely.
If you love something enough, you have enough passion, you have enough dedication, you have enough motivation, and you
Mhm.
have enough consistency,
Yes.
um, to maintain that, then you can definitely do this,
And
and approach
I'm
it
sorry.
in the way that you're approaching it. You know,
Absolutely. And we have to say one more thing
sure.
about when it comes to being successful. And you're successful when you audition. You're successful when you said, I'm stepping out there to be an actor. You're
Hmm.
successful when you put in the hard work.
Hmm.
Nothing's overnight.
Right.
And it
Nothing
might not
is.
even be over a year or 2 years to 5 years. It might not even be a decade. You still put in the hard work.
Hmm.
And when it comes, you're going to have, the cup is running over for real. And you're going to be telling people, I can't do it. I'm sorry. You're going to be
Yes.
begging people to accept your apology because you can't do it because you're so busy,
That's the
because you put in
blessing.
the hard work.
Yeah.
And man, I've done it. I've seen it. And, um, just put in the hard work and have faith, man. Put in the
Mhm.
hard work and have faith. When the hard times come, and when you get through that one day, the next day there's tomorrow's not promised, but when you make it to that next day, if it is a tomorrow, you're
Mhm.
successful. Keep doing something. Read a monologue, read a book, uh, go in the mirror, quote the monologue, quote the lines, go to studio or something like that, hear your voice, do voiceover, do things that will motivate you to keep yourself in the career, because your mind is the battlefield, and the enemy is out there trying to tell you you can't do nothing, you're not nothing, and you're going to
Mhm.
believe it one day if you don't fight the good fight, bro. So you got to literally keep doing things to keep your mind occupied when it comes to for the acting aspect or the directing aspect or filmmaking aspect, writing
Hmm.
aspect, especially writers. Oh my goodness, that's even harder. So you just got to keep going. You got to keep attacking it one day at a
Right.
time,
One
and
day at a
you'll be
time, man.
successful, man. One day at a time, man. Yep.
That is for sure. What do you do to get into your role? You just briefly mentioned practicing in the mirror.
Yeah.
Um, do you record yourself? Do you practice in the mirror? Do you just go over the lines over and over in your head or out loud?
Okay.
What is your process?
So I'm goofy as I don't know what. My thing is that I have a superpower. I like to daydream.
Okay.
So I've always been a dreamer since I was in grade school, and I used to get in trouble sometimes because I would sit there and think scenarios of this character or that character or me being a superhero or this and that. So I've always read a script, and sometimes I read scripts very slowly when I'm by myself or something because I'm daydreaming when I'm reading, like literally, like I'll stop reading and so I
Mhm.
capture who I think that character is.
Mm.
That's one of my things that I do first. So I do a lot of daydreaming after I read, after I get a grasp or synopsis of the storyline, and then I go ham in and read more. And I create my own world. I'm like, I guess I'm a filmmaker in my own mind. I believe I am. I know I'm not, but well,
Yeah.
I am a filmmaker, but I'm not a great filmmaker, is what I'm trying to say. But so I create the movie in my head. I'll go into the mirror. I'll recite my lines.
Uh-huh.
I'll recite them three different ways. One person that I don't like, one person that is neutral in my life, and one person that I truly appreciate and respect and love. And I approach those characters and see which one is the best.
Mm.
And that's something I learned from my acting coach, Cheryl Felicia Rhodes of the Virginia school that she has. She was my stepping stone when it came to like being a professional actor. And she would always tell me to list the three people and go over those lines of someone you don't like or someone that gets on your nerves. Let me say that. Someone
Hmm.
that's neutral. It's just like, oh, well, maybe here. And then the guy's like, yo, that's what I want to be like, whatever. So when you approach those characters with those three people in mind, each outcome is absolutely different.
Right. Yeah.
So that's how I use that to my advantage. And then when a lot of it comes when I'm on set. When I start to feel how this person is giving me this and that person is giving me this, and
Right.
yet I have this that I'm thinking the character is, and then I hear from the director and what he thinks the character should be. All
Hmm.
that comes into a big ball, and I'm like, okay, let me choose from here. This is what I'm going to bring. And so my consistency is something that I'm calculating on each day. I'm calculated that I'm consistent. You have to be consistent as an actor. So I take that from all of what I just said, and every day I make sure I remain consistent. And it's like it's embedded in my head. Um,
Hmm.
that's the best that I can explain, man. And I'm really being true when I say this.
No,
So
I.
yeah,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I'm just saying, like, actors, we have all our different methods. People, they go to school and all of that. I've been to schools for a lot of years, and I
Hmm.
take a little bit from there. I take a little bit from there, that acting school, but most importantly, it's your DNA that's bringing this character to life, and
Absolutely.
you have to remain consistent in what you bring. You can't say, okay, I'm gonna be this type of guy. I'm gonna bring this in a little bit the next day. No, directors do not like that. They want you to remain consistent, and if you're gonna be consistent, you're gonna bring something in. They want you to take it higher so that they're smiling even more at the end of the project. But
Hmm.
don't try to bring different dimensions and try to be all Hollywood and stuff like that. Just be what they hired you to be and what the artist that you are, and take it from there. You know.
Right. Now, you said you daydream
Yeah.
the role in your head,
Hmm.
and then when you get to set, you have there's a director's vision, and then you're feeding off of the other characters, the other actors that
Yeah.
you're in front of,
Hmm.
or that are a part of the scene,
Yeah.
and so you have to somewhat adapt or adjust that character in your mind.
Yeah.
But when you're on set and you're getting ready to shoot the take,
Hmm.
um, are you still daydreaming when they're telling you their vision? Are you
No.
still picturing it in your mind at that point, or no?
Well, I may be like before,
Hmm.
like if the scene, like you got the scene, you shoot that scene that day or whatever. I do visualize, daydream
Right.
what that is, and I'm gonna just tell you like 5 to 6 times out of 10, it's going to be different than what you think
Hmm.
because the director has one point. But the thing is that you're still bringing your what you believe this character is into it.
Right.
So it's like there's no right or wrong. It's just that you have to remain consistent and listen. You got to always hear. You got to hear
Right.
your actors. You got to hear the director. You got to hear yourself.
Hmm.
Um, and that's what I do. And then once it says action, it's like boom. You just sometimes things you just aren't able to explain. You're there. They know why you're
Yes.
there, and you just be and let it flow. And if you are wrong, and if you don't look the way the director sees it, he or she will stop you. And I've
Hmm.
had plenty of that. Like, no, Mike, this is not no that it's I like it, but it's not what I want. And then they talk to you, and then boom, you have to learn how to take instruction and learn how not to be offended. You
Right.
you can't be offended.
Yeah.
They believe in
Yeah.
you. That's the
You
that's
got to
the
have
one.
thick skin there.
Yeah, they believe in you. That's why they hired you. They
Hmm.
already know that you can do it. But the one thing you don't want to do is be offended, get emotional, get all out of character, out of shape, and stuff like that because you bring yourself down, then you bring the whole set down. So just listen, take constructive criticism. Sometimes you take it from your other actors as well because they've been at places you haven't been. So they're going to
Right.
give you experience. And that's another thing. You want to always be humble to take that experience from them. They're not trying to tell you how to do things, they're trying to tell you how to be more successful and for them all, including you, to be successful in this film. It's all about being humble, having fun. I'm
Yes.
gonna say that you gotta have fun, man. If
First and
you're always
foremost.
nervous and sweaty, and they like makeup every 5 minutes, something wrong.
Hmm.
Because you can't. You got to get in there. You can't be Michael J. Patterson anymore. You got to be Mikey from Iceman or
Right.
other people because it's not about you anymore. You're pretending. You're playing pretend.
The last thing that I was going to mention as far as daydreaming,
Uh-huh.
and this might seem a little odd,
Mm-hmm.
but this is something that I find myself doing. It's not necessarily daydreaming, so to speak,
Uh-huh.
but when, two things. When I'm writing, because I do screenwriting as well. When I'm writing, I can picture I'd like to picture the entire scene in my head
Mm-hmm.
before I even write it. It kind of it's like I'm playing the movie that I'm trying to create,
Mm-hmm.
or the scene that I'm trying to create in my head, and play out all of the parts, and that helps me write it down. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but
It,
it does. So in
yeah.
one aspect, I see that as a way of daydreaming or kind of picturing it in your
Yeah.
head. And then secondly, when I'm watching anybody else's film, this happens to me often where if it's a really good movie, I
Mm-hmm.
find I no longer see myself as the viewer. I feel as if I'm participating in the
Oh,
film.
that's
I find
yeah.
myself being sucked in that much to the film.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know if that happens to everybody when they watch movies, but I'm a huge movie buff. Go
Yeah.
to the movies often. Go to movies by myself all the time.
I'm the same
Um,
guy, bro.
yeah,
And
and if it's a really good film,
mhm.
I can get lost in it
Yeah,
real quick.
yeah, I'm the
Um,
same way, man.
okay.
I feel like I'm a participant in the film,
Uh
or
huh.
like, of course, being an actor, you're like, I'm going to be in that one day. I'm going to be in the
Yes.
sequel. I'm going to do, and 9 times out of 10, you're not, but you believe, and it just helps you. It motivates you. It's like a muse to you
Right.
to be a better actor, to be to get into films like that and stuff. And there's
Right.
no, that it's awesome that you think that way because I thought I was one of the guys that thought like that as well. I mean, like the rare folks. There's a lot of people that do that, and a lot of
Yeah.
writers that'll tell you that they do it some way, somehow, whatever, but they do exactly what you and I do. We participate in movies that we
Right.
see, and it becomes a muse for them to go back home and write their stuff.
Right. And they may
There's no
not
right or
even
wrong.
realize. Yeah, they may not even realize that that's what it is that they're doing,
Yeah,
and or either that or they may not be able to um, explain what it is the way we're explaining it. But
yeah. And the
um,
thing is, think about it. Like, if you talk to a director or a writer, filmmaker, what do they always talk about? Movies.
Right.
Oh, you remember
Movies.
this line? And they quote the line
Yes.
line for line. And
Yes.
me being an actor, I should know that, but I don't know it. But they're
Right.
saying, and I'm like, man, you know that because they're amused. They're amused. It's amused to them to be able to write and filmmake and do what they're doing because
Right.
it's like it's like a network of bodies of all of us that God allowed us to have these visions to do what we're doing. And
Absolutely.
then like there's like-minded folks. When somebody knows and identifies this movie or how to do this way of filmmaking or whatever, then they come together and they collaborate, network, and then it just goes
Right.
because we all, that's just the way it is. Like, somebody race car driving, we don't know anything about that, but let two race car drivers talk.
Yes.
you
And
know,
they
it's
connect. Yes.
and yeah, it's just it's amazing, man. We're
Mhm.
amazing people, man. We don't give ourselves enough credit on what
No.
we're able to do and what we think we can do, but we can do so much more. And
Yeah.
I look forward to always being that guy that encourages individuals to take the next step and be bigger and better than me. Period.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Um, what I guess let me ask you, which actors or actresses influence you the most? Where do you find yourself drawing more inspiration from?
Well, there's the typical, you have Denzel. The guy is just he's bad. And I hope I'm
Yeah.
saying your name right if you're watching this one day. Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Oh
Um,
yes, he's awesome. Yeah.
yeah, and that guy is amazing, man. Like,
He
and a
doesn't
lot
get
of
enough credit.
he doesn't, man. That dude is bad. Don Cheadle. I'm just gonna have to say it. Like I told him, he's an A-list, and that's Sean Woodland from Iceman. That dude is a beast, man.
Okay.
Tell
Yeah.
me, get him on your show. The dude is extremely humble, and you would never think that he's like just this bad dude that can do anything on camera,
Right.
man. He's bad. I'm a fan of his, man. Um, there's so many people that I can say. Keanu Reeves is a guy that I like. Matt Damon, Viola
Yes.
Davis, definitely. Oh my goodness, what's her name? From What's Love Got to Do with It?
Oh, Angela Bassett.
Angela Bassett, man.
Yeah.
Her. Let's see who is somebody's really really. It is a lot, man. I hate when that happens because there's so many people that I can think of, but the
Sure.
ones that I named that I study them as well. That's another thing I do.
Right.
I'm a people watcher. Like
Right.
I just look at folks and I say, oh, you get a little bit of that and get a little of that, and not even actors, just regular people. Because
Mhm.
like the Mikey, those are folks that I remember growing up, and I combine them to become Mikey. So
Right.
it's just people are fascinating, and it kind of sounds weird because we're actors, but other people are like, I don't look at people like that. Something wrong with you. But no, it's me doing it to make the craft better for me.
Right. You're studying other people's quirks
Yeah,
and adapting those quirks into a
yeah,
character, or your character building. But you take bits and pieces from things that you've seen or experienced in your life,
yeah,
and you put it together to make a character that can oftentimes be relatable, believable,
yeah,
or even sometimes so unbelievable that they're sinister.
yeah.
Like I can't believe that there's somebody out there that would be this evil or this menacing or something like that.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then you got your Cameron Arnett's and you got your Karen Abercrombie's. Those are
Right.
amazing, man. Like those people, knowing them personally, as well as they being actors, it's amazing. And I learned a lot from them. And if you ever get Cameron on your show or something like that, or Karen, um, their range. I like seeing actors who have crazy ranges. And in the
Hmm.
faith-based film that I do a lot of, you're not seeing that a lot, but now you're seeing it. Like
Hmm.
I'm just going to say I'm one of those guys that can do that for range in faith-based film. Then you got your Cameron Arnett's, Karen Abercrombie's, and other great actors that they show the range, and you're just like, wow. And the thing is that in range, see, I'm a guy that I don't want to always do things that I don't want to do as an actor as well.
Right.
And you can show range by, you can show that range and not have to be in those type of films.
Hmm.
and bring them to the films that you want to do. There's this narrative that you have to go the step further and do things that are extremely uncomfortable that you know you don't want to do or can't do, and sometimes you're scared that you're gonna lose your career or whatever. But those two people, Cameron and Karen, they showed me how I'm able to stay on my path and
Right.
still show my range and still
Hmm.
get jobs.
Hmm.
And so that's another thing I like. I like the honor and integrity in an actor. And so yeah, might have been sidebar bar a little bit, but yeah, that's just something I want to throw out there.
um, what is your take on the current uptick in faith based films? I mentioned this before in another interview, and my personal opinion is I think that it's great that we're now in a place to where more faith-based films are starting to see the light of day and starting to get um, more
Notice,
credit and more spotlight in general, more of an audience.
yeah. So the uptick is just common sense, and I say that as meaning look at the world today.
Right.
People are questioning why these things are happening. People are questioning maybe these things that these Bible thumping guys or and girls are saying are right or whatever, And I'm not trying to, I don't know how to explain it, but like I don't want to just like us against them type of thing. What I,
Mhm.
in these faith-based films that are up today, they're really showing that what says in the Word of God is actually happening, whether you
Yeah.
want to believe it or not. And so the people who are still trying to fight or they're being on the fence, these movies are showing that these are the scenarios and these are the things that are happening, and it's not just the corny cookie cutter Christian films anymore. We still have some of them out there, of course, but there's films out there that are impactful that will hit you in the gut, like, yo, what are you gonna do?
Yes. Right.
Like, what or there's a lot of folks that are Gen X like me and millennials that are getting older, right?
Hmm.
As you get older, things change, right? Mortality starts hitting you a lot more, and then you're
Yes.
like, yo, yeah, let me go ahead and go to church real quick or something like that, whatever. And it's always it's a thing that's already we were created to worship God, whether you
Right.
believe Him or not. And so in your heart, whatever's empty, as you get older, that emptiness grows
Yes.
if you're not going to the source, and that source needs to be fed. And so people try to feed themselves in self help books, self help this, self other movies, other situations, stuff like that, and it just comes up empty. But when you go to God, when you go to Christ, and you start reading the Word, you start becoming full because we're more of spiritual beings than we are flesh. Believe it or not, even
Hmm.
though we're 70% water and the rest muscle and bone and everything else, we're still more spiritual than we are
Right.
those. So when these movies start impacting you and hitting you in your brain, you're like, okay, whatever, man. Then all of a sudden another pop up. Then
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're seeing these faith-based films pop up in Hollywood from 2010 and up. And they're like, what are these coming out? Let me go ahead and see what this is about. Oh, that joint was corny. But something planted in you, some type of seed was planted. And then you
Yeah.
try to go to other avenues and stuff like that to say, okay, that's what's happening. No,
It's the
that's not
mess.
what
It's
it.
the message is still
Yeah.
there. Regardless of if it's corny or not, the message
Yeah.
is still there,
Yeah.
and the message. I still feel like at the end of the day, the message is going to reach you, whether you
Yeah.
want it to or not.
Right. It's gonna hit you, man. And
Yeah.
so that's why I'm compelled to always be available to do faith-based film. And my thing is that I think I'm in a part of my life where I want to be in something that is so grand and so big that we deserve to have a big budget, so that we're able to put every intricate situation out. I mean, a value situation out there that allows folks to really see,
Hmm.
how God sees us and how much He loves us, and it should be in films that are like so impactful. So there's violent. The Bible's extremely violent, extremely. So there should be movies made like that. I don't.
Right.
I want to go outside of the box. I want things to be controversial, but at the same
Right.
time, exactly true
Hmm.
and 100% biblical. There's no going around anymore because the world is not like that anymore. This world is so extremely violent and so uncomfortable and crazy that we need to have movies that you do the same thing that'll attack your spirit. I mean, not attack your spirit, but just hit your spirit like, oh,
Yeah.
you know,
Sometimes you need that wake up call,
yeah,
and sometimes it takes something that is more real or more authentic or true to life
yeah,
to get there.
yeah. Because I mean, my faith in Christ is that we're in our last days. Period. And I say that we're in our last days, meaning you're in your last days regardless. If you don't believe there's a last days and all of a sudden
Yeah.
there's a rapture or whatever and stuff like that,
Right.
they could be the next day you get shot, get hit by a car or whatever, you still live in your last day. It's like, there's no tomorrow. Tomorrow's not promised.
Right.
So either way, there's a last days going on. So it is in my heart and it is my duty to make sure that I preach Christ in everything that I do, both faith-based film, secular film, wherever I am at. I don't
Mm.
go out there and be like, okay, you brew the snakes like John the Baptist on set before we film or nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I do it when the Holy Spirit tells me to do it. And at the
Right.
same time, I got a lot of my brothers and sisters have questioned me saying, okay, you still doing secular film, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, that's, as long as I'm not being like everyone
You're
else,
you're
I'm good.
human. You're
Yeah,
human too.
I'm human and I'm good because I know that, Jesus sat with sinners to tell them to do such and such, but he didn't act like them, but he
Right.
still loved them and he still sat with them and talked to them. He planted seeds and he went on
Absolutely.
his way. That's the type of guy I am. I'm not
Right.
saying that I'm always going to be tempted to, I'm not having any temptation or whatever to want to be like them. We all
Right.
deal with that.
Right.
But the fact is I got to be about my father's business and I'm going to go everywhere that he tells me to go. And so I don't know where I got with that, but that's what I'm just
Yeah,
letting you
no, it's good, man, and it's good to put the good word in there as well,
know.
because just as much as you are, there are plenty of actors and actresses out there who
Yeah,
are believers in Christ
yeah,
and want to approach this business in a Christ-like manner.
yeah, yeah,
um, and just want to be able to keep the faith. When we're dealing with several industries,
hmm,
whether it's music, film, entertainment in general, there's a
yeah.
lot of
It's
bad
hard.
things that go on. There's a lot of evil, a lot of negativity.
It's
um,
funny, man.
and so you want to be shielded, guided,
Yeah,
um, and protected at all times, no matter what the role is, whether it's faith based or secular.
yeah,
So what you said there hits spot on, and it's going to resonate with a lot of um, actors, young and old.
yeah. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah,
I've just got to be me, man. I mean, not me. Let me say that again. I got to be authentic.
right,
Because if you be fake, somebody's gonna find out. Eventually, the public will find out about you.
right.
So put it out there now. Don't be scared. Allow God to take care of everything. Yes, you're not gonna get the roles you want to get because they found that Mike, he's a Jesus freak or whatever. So let it be that, and just
Yeah,
move forward. And somebody else is gonna say, hey, well, let's go ahead and take a
right,
chance on this big head dude,
right.
and I'm gonna rock it for you. It's just simple as that.
Absolutely, man. Before we go, I give everybody the opportunity to give a final word, whether it's a quote, words of encouragement, or a piece of advice, either that you were given or that you would like to give to maybe the young and aspiring actors coming up.
Okay. Well, I think like we talked about, when it comes to networking, make sure you're networking. Make sure you're doing things that make you feel uncomfortable when you're an actor. Now, when I say meaning uncomfortable, meaning when it comes to challenges, something that you think you couldn't do, like a big, huge monologue or something in a scene or whatever, attack it. Get out of your comfort zone. Always get out your comfort zone. And make sure that you're having fun through the process. I don't care how grueling and how hard it is, how, it's a repeated thing over and over. Find a way to have fun with it because it's going to pay off. Always
Mhm.
think that greater days are ahead for you in this business. And last and not least, I'm going to have to put a scripture out there that says that you put on Ephesians 6:10 through 18, put on the full armor of Christ. Because in this entertainment business, it's hard. There's a lot of temptation. There's a lot of craziness. And there's a lot of folks who just aren't going to like you at all just because you're
Mhm.
just there. And you ain't do nothing to them. So you got to
Mm.
guard yourself. You got to be there. At the same time, love your enemies. At the same time, love them still, because you're there for a reason. No matter if they don't like you, if they do like you, you're there for a reason. Put on that full armor, Ephesians 6:10 through 18. Have fun and enjoy the journey. That's about
Well,
it.
amen, man. I
Thanks,
love it. I love it. I love it.
cool.
Michael J. Patterson, everybody.
Thanks for having me,
Thank
guys.
you. Thank you for joining the show, man. I truly appreciate your time, your advice, your experiences, your knowledge. Um, it's awesome, man.
I
And
appreciate you, man.
I'm thankful that I was able to meet you in person, and we spoke
Yeah, man.
first before even doing this, so that made it
That's
even
cool.
better.
Yeah.
And we're gonna continue to build upon this friendship, and we're gonna make a lot of things happen.
We
And
are, man.
I'm excited for your career. I'm gonna keep watching. I'm gonna keep rooting for you from
Thank
the
you, man.
sidelines.
All right.
Um, and I know you have plenty of more opportunities and jobs and roles in the near future.
I
And
pray.
yeah, yeah, definitely pray. Yes, it's coming. It's coming,
I
and
appreciate it,
it's going
man.
to continue to come as long as you stay, diligent in everything that you're doing, and keep the faith. It won't stop.
Thank
You
you, man.
know.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
God bless you, bro, and
Hey,
your
God
brother
bless you too,
Script.
man.
I pray that
Um,
y'all have a. I mean, I pray that your business takes off, man. And
thank you, man.
like you might take off before me, and I'm like, can I get on there again? Just I mean,
Absolutely.
I need
Yeah.
I need some pub somewhere. Thanks so much, man. And I
Yes,
like
sir.
the setup too, bro. Just want to let you know
Hey,
that.
hey, thank you, man.